So, hey, we're back. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Today is Motivational Monday, and we are here with Monique James. So, I'm super excited to have her here with us. Okay, so Motivational Monday. So, what do we say? Last time we talked about making good decisions, then we talked about speaking words of affirmation. Now, let's think of what we can say today. Today is Motivational Monday. Now, did you know that a lot of what we say is right up here? Our thoughts. Sometimes our thoughts are toxic. And when we have toxic thoughts, a lot of the times we act out those toxic thoughts. So, what I would say to you today is on this Motivational Monday, check out your thought life. Check out about the things that you're thinking about. Are you thinking about a lot of positive things? Or are you thinking about a lot of negative things? Now, I know there's a lot that's going on in the world today, and it can be pretty difficult, especially with the climate that's in the country today. And the fact that we are in an election year and that there's so much stuff going on. But I want to encourage you to take a hold of your thoughts, because your thoughts are a pathway to where you're going to head. It's a pathway to your destiny. So when we talk about taking first steps and moving forward in purpose, our thoughts and our decisions and our talking all have to match up in order to walk in our purpose. Okay, that's it for today. We are so excited to have Monique James, and we're going to be on here talking about friendship. So, Monique, so excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I am Monique James. All my friends call me Monique or Moni, so have at it, whichever you choose. I am a current resident of Fort Worth, Texas. I almost said Oklahoma. That's because I moved here from Oklahoma 5 months ago during the pandemic. Life's been good here. I have a wonderful husband, 4 beautiful daughters, bunch of age ranges in there. I'm a voice teacher, I'm a video editor, and a whole lot of other things, including singer, dancer, songwriter. So that's a bit about me. And I was born and raised in the wonderful city of Chicago.
Nice. Oh my, you got it's Chi-Town, right?
Chi-Town. My
Chi-Town resident. So we had one a couple weeks. Last week we had a Chi-Town resident. Erica Moon was on with us.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, she was on with me last week. So, how do you? I mean, in comparison to Chicago and Fort Worth, Texas, like what does that look like for you?
You know, I've been asked that before. And I think because I didn't leave Chicago and come straight here, you know, there's been several years that I've been away from Chicago. And I actually went from Chicago to Danville, Kentucky, which was much more rural. Yes, Kentucky, your place.
That's my hometown.
So, yes. So it's much more rural there. That was more of the shocker than coming from like probably Chicago to here. But because I had that 10 years in Danville and then moved to Oklahoma, believe it or not, Broken Arrow felt more city to me. I'm like, oh, I'm in the city again, you know, because rural, you know. So it's been great. And especially the pandemic happened literally the week after we moved here, shut down.
Wow.
So it's been a whole lot of that in a new place and a whole lot of being in the house. I work from home full time. My kids are homeschooled, you know, so, but I love the place. I love it here.
Yeah, I love Texas. Just for those of you that don't know, I love Texas. If I could move anywhere in the world, it would be to Texas. But I'll tell you about that at another time.
Okay. Oh, girl, come on. We'll talk later.
Okay, so we are on here talking about friendship, the truth about friendship, how to make friends, how to maintain long-lasting friendships. And I thought, we've talked about friendship before, so I thought that you would be just like a perfect candidate to share. Now, I know you don't necessarily have a degree in friendship and all that, but you have a great support system, it seems, just looking from the outside. Can you talk to me a little bit about what that looks like? What do you look for when you decide to make friends?
Okay, that's actually a great question because you, as you've already said, you and I speak about friendship quite a bit. And with some of my other friends, we've spoken about this a lot. And oftentimes I come across as outgoing, this extrovert, type of person, which I am. But I'm also a bit of introverted too. So something that was interesting that I really learned just a few years ago while, kind of approaching my 30s is that, I don't know how to make friends. And it came about because I've relocated time and time again. I don't know if you know, I've lived in, I think, 5 or 6 states. And no, we're not a military family. We're a ministry family. So we get that a lot. Military? No, ministry, So making friends has been a constant since I was 22. So going back to my childhood, I learned about myself in my adult years is that I didn't really have to make friends or know how. It just seemed like friends came to me. But I was in performing arts and things like that. So you're like in these little clustered communities of dance or, drama, music, whatever we're doing at the time. And you have like automatic friendships. And then you have school and things like that. And Chicago's just a big city, church, all the things we were involved in a lot. So moving away from home was my first awakening of, I don't know how to make friends. Friends don't just come to me. I have to do some work on my end. And that has just been honestly an ongoing journey for me in my adult years. Something that has helped me is just showing myself friendly, firstly. Just being kind, speaking, initiating conversations, no matter where you're at. Like I said, we're ministry folk. So oftentimes it's within the church or workplace or whatever,
Yeah.
But I'm the person that in the grocery store, like today, I see this jar of pickles in this lady's cart. And I'm like, excuse me, miss, I noticed those pickles in your jar. Did you notice how small those little pickles are now? I literally did that today. I'm that girl. So friend, ship, it just happens. And I could have easily exchanged numbers as long as we talk and all that. And it could have been a potential friendship. And that's honestly usually my pattern, no matter where I am. And it's not intentional. I'm just that person.
Wow. Yeah. So you feel like you step out of your comfort zone, you just have a conversation with people over just random stuff, like
random stuff, because I was upset about those pickles. Okay, my kids go through them like they grow on trees out in the front yard, and
they could though.
They could, right? But they don't. Not in my yard. And I noticed the little spears. That's what they are.
Oh,
Spears
yeah.
are so tiny. And
yeah.
I was fussing about it 2 days last week when I opened those jars. And so when I'm at the store, I'm literally coming out of, my lane, and I noticed this lady's pickles. And I had to speak on it. But that's me with anything. That's me with any topic. What we talking about? Okay.
How do you get confidence in that? I mean, is it because you have like a performing arts background? I mean, there's a lot of people that just are super afraid to just step out and like have that conversation. Like, right. What would you say, like coming from always having friends to a brand new area and then having to realize that you have to make friends? Where'd you get the confidence and the boldness to just step out and ask those questions or say those things or talk about random topics?
Right. And I'm shocked that we went on and on. She actually was engaged in the topic and agreed. Let me put that out there. Like she was all in and upset about them spears. But anyway, the thing about it would be, as far as me, I think performing arts did help me. I'm also the third daughter of 3 daughters that my mom has. And I always felt I needed a voice with those two older ones because they were bigger. They did everything first. So a lot of it came from home, me speaking up, let them tell it I was a brat. But, I just felt like I needed to speak up. Like, Monique, you need to do this. Monique, do that. But you're only 2.5 years older than me. How do you have a right? I was always
yeah.
And I didn't understand the concept of how, they felt they had these rights in my life. So it started at home. And then performing arts, absolutely. I loved, not that I was a show off. I hope some of my friends comment that see this to back this up, because I wasn't a show off. But I love being front and center.
She's not a show off. She's
I
super
wasn't at all. Super humble. But I loved getting the opportunities to do a solo, because it really started with dance for me. At home, my family, they were all into music. I sang when I was forced, but dance was like my thing. That was my set me apart type of thing. And so I think for me, it was performing arts and home, being the third child.
That's hilarious. I was just commenting that you're the third child that I guess I'm friends with. A lot of my friends are middle children. Like I don't know. I guess I guess it's the wild and crazy.
Yeah.
You guys are super bold and like exciting.
My brother came 13 years after me. So it was 3 girls. I was the baby 13 years. And we still have that who's the baby between the two.
Yeah. That's funny. Do you look for like a character trait or certain types of people to be friends with? Because a lot of people, they struggle with maybe not having good friends, or ghosting, or just really random things nowadays. People not being engaged. How do you make? Because you can make a random friend at the grocery store talking about pickles, apparently, but how do you know that you need to take the relationship deeper, like the friendship to the next level?
For me, firstly, let me put it out there. I have a set group of friends that we go back, some of us 20 to 30 years. And
yes, 30
so
years.
those
That's
are
a
my
long time.
people. Yeah, like those are my people, like no matter what in life. And my bestie, she's right here in San Antonio, which is cool. I'm closer to her now, 20 something years, So you have those friends, right? But then, as I said, relocating, I found that when it comes to actual friendships, I'm not the all the time initiator. The more mature I've gotten in age, the more experiences I've had, the more children I've had, and the more I've moved around, So it, to me, in my, I'll say maturity in the area as I've grown and experienced some, different things within friendships, good and not so good. I find that I just allow it to happen, if that makes sense. So sometimes you meet people, and the more you interact with people, think about you and I, for example. We've known each other for years, but it took a while for us actually to get together and connect. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I've become more of that person. And it's not because of the, for example, you or another person. It's more of me, just the way my life is set up. Like I said, I have 4 kids now. It was 3. And you know how that is. Your life, your time is occupied. So it's more challenging to hone in on friendships sometimes. But I found that certain type of people are drawn to me, and they're usually people that have a need of some level of emotional support.
Yeah.
And that was an area that I had to grow and learn about, because it's okay sometimes, but then when I'm drained, I struggled in how to deal with that. So that was a long, long journey of learning to set boundaries and all this stuff with friendship. So, that extrovert is sometimes put on the back burner in these latter years. I have to I'm much more slow about my approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. Well, tell me this. How do you see friendship? I mean, like, how do you value friendship? What does that look like for you? Um, just the value that you place on friendship. Because I know with us having our own lives and schedules
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
tons of things going on, like, how valuable do you see friendship really is?
It's extremely valuable to me. I feel like I'm a honest person. I feel that I am transparent with my friends, trustworthy. I expect the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I don't, I'm not someone that completely just goes into a situation just all in. But I expect if I'm good to you, you give that same back to me. And I can really quickly at this point decipher if this is going to be something that I need to, continue to, I won't say pursue, but just stay in connection with or not. I feel like I've gotten to that point in relationships and just honestly, I'll be real about it, seeking God seriously about it because I struggled a few years ago in the area of relationships just due to some broken friendships, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
over really petty things, and
Yeah.
so I went through quite a process and quite a season, but honestly, it's really amazing how even going through those things where you think a friendship may be just, oh, that wasn't a friend, or, I'm gonna just cut them off, or maybe they cut me off for whatever reason, they got mad. Something I learned is, it's not always the person or personality. We go through things, and the things we go through can really influence the way we treat others.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so,
Wait a minute. I don't want you to go into that because we're going to do that
okay.
we're going to do that in the next
Okay,
session.
honey,
Okay.
I'm going. Okay, so basically, I look for loyalty, trustworthiness, honesty. Like be transparent and genuine, or if not, just be truthful that you're not gonna be. Like,
Yeah.
don't pretend.
Just to be
Let's not
honest.
pretend about it. Be honest.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Right.
good. I love that. Um, I am brutally honest. I'm very
Yeah.
upfront. I tell people what I want, what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I hate to say it, and I didn't think that I would ever say this, but I'm too old to to
Great
try
sister.
to figure out what the heck you want.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
it's
People can be complicated. It's like,
yes,
why? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So I've learned, just even as just kind of going and growing and things of that nature, I put it out there sometimes,
Yeah.
a lot of the times before people put it out there.
Right.
This
That's
is what I'm
good.
looking for. This is the
Boundaries.
commitment. This is the level that I'm able to give.
Yeah.
And then, so that what the expectation is,
That's
right?
good. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's scary to people because people do this dance. They do,
They
they
do.
do a dance, and I'm gonna act like I'm faithful and I'm gonna act like I'm loyal, but I'm really not, because I want to meet up to the standard that you meet up to. But like
Right.
you said, just be honest. I mean, I don't know that I could be that, but
Mm-hmm.
this is what I can give.
Right. Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. You said you were in rural Kentucky.
Yes.
Okay, so you
Almost said yes, girl. Yeah.
So I'm from Louisville, which is
Right.
a larger city, right? But I
Yeah.
have family that lived in Danville. I
Mm-hmm.
had an uncle that lived in Danville for
Okay.
years.
Wow.
Yeah. And his kids, they're older than me, but they lived there, and then they ended up eventually moving to Lexington. So
Okay.
one of the one that's still alive is in Lexington
Okay.
right now. And then I've got like just family all over Somerset. That's near
Every town you've named, I know these places.
yes, yes. Covington,
Yeah.
like all those, we're all over the place. Like I'm the only one in Oklahoma. Praise.
Okay.
But anyway,
Wow.
so I think like what I'm trying to get to is, you come from Chicago, you come from people that, you've grown up with all your life.
Yeah.
You've known them, you know them to the core, and then you go into a rural town in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Had you ever been in an environment like that before, or was this your first time in that type of an environment?
Of like Danville.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. I only visited once before moving there when I was 7 months pregnant, and we moved when my baby was 2 months old. So that was it. It was that one visit, like, oh, this is nice. Oh, a lot of land, grass, beautiful, nice people. The church was great that we were going to be moving there to serve at, the people, pastors, But then moving there, the first few months was good because it's a new place. My baby was still small and new. And really quickly, I got an awakening I wasn't quite ready for,
Okay.
And it could be just that city girl. I'm a city girl to my core, to my core. That's me. I loved my home. So, you know what I mean? Right. So going there, it was just different, extremely different for me.
So what about friendships? I mean, I know you said that you had to learn how to make friends. I know, just to put it out there, Danville's a predominantly white area, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you coming in from a city probably around people that, look like you, going into an area that you're probably not, you weren't accustomed to being a part of. Like,
right.
How was that? Like, how was that transition to going from people that didn't necessarily, that looked like you, to people that didn't necessarily look like you? And then how did you make friends in that situation?
Right. So I've always been comfortable around, other cultures, period. Like, you name it, it doesn't matter. And it's that arts side of me. I spend a lot of time downtown Chicago, so you see a variety of people there.
Yeah.
So moving to Danville initially, it was fine. But I will be honest, you do start noticing, after a while, there's not that many Black folk here, in this specific area. And there were quite a few, we ended up meeting plenty of Black, white friends, but it was the first time that I realized I was different, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Chicago, I just didn't, it wasn't something I was aware of. I don't know how else to word that. It's just the first experience for me. And I was 21 when I moved there.
Okay.
It was my first experience in that. So making friends was great. Like I said, at church, because we're at church and it was kind of, we're serving together. The church was new at the time, only a couple of years old. So there was a lot of outreach stuff going on. There was always something going on, building the worship team. And our friends actually that got us to come there and help and serve, they're from Chicago too. And then eventually our friend Lamar, you knew Lamar, he came after us. So we still had our little community of family there too, if that makes sense. But when I got my first job, when my baby was 1 year old, I had some uncomfortable encounters and challenges in the friendship zone. And it was culturally related, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And not on my end.
Yeah.
I'll just put that out there. Yeah. So that was the kind of first of me having, and honestly, that challenge never ended.
Yeah.
I lived there 9.5 years.
Wow. So did you feel like, because I know for me, there was a lot when I moved from Louisville to Branson.
Yeah. Probably similar experiences in some ways.
It was similar. The only difference was that Branson is you visit a lot. A lot of people are visiting. So yeah, it's a touristic place. So you didn't necessarily feel like it was a small town because there was something always going on, especially in the up season. Now in the down season, it was a different type of situation. But in the up season, I mean, there were people always all around and things of that nature. And it kind of felt more like a city at that time than it did every other time.
Okay.
But I can say that making friends in that environment, it was very different because I had come from just a predominantly Black area. Mm-hmm. All of my friends were Black. Like I had, gone to school, had, friends at school, But to invite someone and to embrace them and have them come to my home, to do things with them, to hang out with them, that was another story. Like I didn't do that. Like I didn't hang out with
Mm-hmm.
people from other races. Like it just, that wasn't my thing, So I don't know. Did you struggle? Did you have that kind of a struggle, or was that just, did it come easy for you because of your background?
I will not say easy, just because that awakening that I'm different from a lot of people around me in this town on the outside, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like when it hit me like a boomerang. And so I did a lot of searching and really trying to identify in this place,
Yeah.
it was a struggle. Organic friendships, I had them, like I said, within my church, and still have them. Those friends of mine are still so near and dear and family to me.
That's good.
Outside of there, it was quite the challenge. It really was. Like, that's a whole nother probably segment to go into details, but it was and it was often something that would leave you feeling like, what did I do wrong? I went through that so much, and really nothing. It was just how I felt like I'm in this new place, and I'm not used to it. One thing I can say my Kentucky peeps were the most honest people I've ever met in my life. They would prepare you when there might be a situation you'd be in that you might feel comfortable. At one point, I was a server. And so my coworkers would tell me when they had certain family that would be dining in and how they behaved at home, and just in case they would.
Yeah.
So I had never experienced such a thing. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that, like, especially fast forward to so many things that have happened since,
Yeah.
now, 10 years or so ago. I always can go back to that, like, man, they really had my back. So even though I felt a little out of place sometimes, they wanted to prepare me for people that might not be used to me, that maybe I would be serving.
But
So
that's
yeah.
another level of friendship. I mean, like that's
Yeah, they're good friends.
yeah.
I've never lived in another place where I had such transparent friends when it came to that type of stuff, racial stuff, that are on the not Black people. And it wasn't always white people. I had friends that were Hispanic and stuff, but they let you know the truth. And when we moved from there, I had friends hugging and loving on us and being a blessing to us before we left, and telling me thank you for helping them see that there are good Black folks in the world. So that just goes to show, just environmentally, culturally, depending on where you live, it's not people's fault all the time that they think a certain way. It's regions and stuff where you are, and just how it is and how it's been. But one thing I can say, they were real with me.
Yeah.
And really that helped me understand things when I may have had someone that seemed like a potential friend, but maybe they didn't just be as interested in, they weren't as interested in me. I a lot of times would say, okay, my friends kind of prepared me for this, if that makes sense.
That's really good. Transparency in friendship is a necessity. Yeah.
It helped live there peacefully.
Yeah.
It did. They helped.
That's good. I wanted to talk about, just the different, being around different people of different cultures, because a lot of the times, the things that prevent us from being friendship, like you're saying right now, a lot of times the things that prevent us from being friends with other people from other cultures is because we don't really understand the culture. We have this kind of generalization of what we think people are, and it's really not the truth. Right. And when you get into like really getting to know a person, then that's when your own personal biases have a tendency to get exposed, right? And then you're like, oh gosh, I can't live this way. I can't be this way. I can't think this way. I need to change my thinking. I need to change that, because I can have a rich friendship with somebody that doesn't necessarily look like me or have the same background as me or have the same skin color as me. And it be really deep and really good. But if I don't fix what's inside me and what I think about what's going on, if I'm not transparent about what's happening, then I won't experience that. And I love the fact that you guys were able to make such good friends at that time and then be there as a support system for you.
Thank you.
Do you think that that's kind of helped you in your journey?
It
like
absolutely
leaving?
Has. I had no idea how much, like no idea, because leaving there, then we moved to Oklahoma. And, you know, I think because of the area we lived in, most of the people, as you know, weren't necessarily from Oklahoma. Most of them. But when we did branch out, we worked at a church in Tulsa before. Those folks out there were from Oklahoma. And there was a drastic difference in our little bubble, right, in Broken Arrow and Tulsa, the area we were in. And so just those years in Kentucky, I dealt with a lot of, I'll be honest and say, some traumatic stuff, but I also had all these tools that I didn't know were tools at the time that helped me when I moved. So I to this day can pull out those nuggets that my transparent, and when I tell you, these are friends that I'm in my early and mid 20s during these years that I'm speaking of. They were teenagers, some of them early 20s, like just being themselves, they didn't even have a understanding that this could be offensive, possibly. So all you got was transparency, if that makes sense. And I appreciate it.
So I'm gonna tell you something. We are out of time. This conversation is so good.
I won't leave. I refuse.
Just saying. It is so good, though. I mean, it's refreshing because, like, in a time where there's division, in a time where it does look really bleak in the world, the things that are happening behind the scenes, the things that are happening in little pockets in places and time, we are agents of change.
Right. Yes.
And you talked about your tools. We do have tools. We have tools where we can learn how to adapt and learn how to talk to people and learn how to deal in situations. And a lot of times people say, well, I shouldn't have to do all of that. Well, I mean, we all talk about personal growth on a regular basis. Like growing, you don't want to be the same, you know. You do that by learning from experience. You do it by learning from your past traumas, challenges. You do that by learning and then, you know, taking those tools or those experiences and then moving forward from it. And then you invest that into the people behind you. You know, I talk about that a whole lot.
I love it.
A whole lot.
I love it.
You gotta pass it on, right?
Yeah.
You want to pass that on to your daughters. I want to pass it on to my sons. I want my sons to be effective in this day and age. I want them to have tools that I didn't even have, you know, that I wasn't fully aware of. I want them to be emotionally stable.
That's it. Yes.
And have the things that, you know, I wanted to have at that age. So this is Motivational Monday. And as I mentioned to you before, your thought lives really determine where you're going to go. And today we talked about that, even in friendship. Our friendship, sometimes our thoughts may not necessarily be good, but if we're transparent, we're open about it, and we take the tools that we've used or the tools that we gain along our journey, it will help us to move forward in life, okay? So on this Motivational Monday, we will see you soon. Bye.